how high do you think the bid for Fox goes?
Well, my own sense is, Comcast, Brian wants to have a opportunity to participate. He's the high bid right now on Sky. It's obviously Fox will have to do something if they want to own Sky to buy the balance. Within the framework of the deal on the table, he probably has to bump it to $3 or $4 a share. Again, let me highlight and echo the comments that we might have made in the past, and that is that SpinCo, you're getting $38, a combination of 50% cash, 50% Disney paper with a collar, which means that depending on where the price is, whether it's the VWAP volume-weighted average price or whether it's how they determine it, if Disney was selling, at let's assume $106, you're going to get 38 divided by 106, as that is your pro rata share of the Disney stock, which is like 0.35, without getting too technical. So I would argue that Comcast now can either come back with a part stock or part cash, but it's got to be up to $41. But my clients who own Fox will have $10 in public markets, with about a $17 in private market value of what we call the new Fox. So you add that $10 to the 38, so that's why the stock is at 47 and change, because in hand you have $48. Then the question depends on the timing. How long will Comcast be able to need to get their proposal if they have higher economic value through the regulatory agency, and that is a time value of money. And the second part is how far along is Disney in getting that process started. So those are the elements.
So, Mario, it's Michelle here. Your firm's got $5 million of Fox B and $5 million of Fox A. Ultimately, conceptually, what would you prefer? Would you want a lot of cash from Comcast, or would you like to hold Disney stock down the road?
I will take a coin out and give to my taxable clients what is taxed at the lowest possible rate, pay less tax, pay later, which is one of the great lines I learned from John Malone about 40 years ago. So my clients want to pay less, pay later. And the second part is those that are tax-free are going to say, hey, listen, I love Disney. I think your earnings estimate of Disney of $10 a share out 2 or 3 years makes a lot of sense, and Disney's going to have a strong tailwind. And we like Comcast. Comcast at $33 is a bargain. So, we will make the determination, but at the moment we are doing what we would always do at a great opera, and that is just applaud the participants and say, carry on.
Yeah. Hey, Mario, it's Scott. It's nice to talk to you again.
Hi, Scott. How you doing? What are you working overtime?
I am. That's okay. I enjoy it. Who do you think Murdoch wants, all things being equal?
Well, let's assume I'm Rupert and I have 300 million shares. The buy tax guys, and they're not as deeply paid as some of the ones that Rupert and others are hiring. Assume I don't pay them that much. Basically, he's going to have to pay a tax on SpinCo. So the $10 I gave you, assuming that's first print, he's got 300 million shares times 10 is $3 billion times 35% between federal and SALT taxes. So he's going to pay $1 billion in tax on that. However, to the degree that everyone elects cash and he gets his stock off, he'll have a deferral on his Disney stock, whereas Comcast, he's going to have to pay 100% tax. So if I'm Rupert and I'm an economic person in the history of Adam Smith, I want to take, everything constant. If I had the right to do it, I would take a tax-deferred piece of paper, particularly if I thought it was, reasonably priced.
But if you're an ordinary shareholder, Mario, isn't there an advantage to the all cash?
Listen, I have clients that own this stock from the days of Herb Siegel with Chris Kraft, PhD, with a $2, and they're ordinary people. So I don't know what you mean. In addition to that, my mutual funds get hurt by what is not impacted at the ETFs. They can't wash it out through the authorized participant strategy. It's totally unfair. But that's a different subject. No, I disagree with you. I think the answer is that you now have an opportunity to take 50% of your compensation in cash, and the other compensation, assuming everybody elected 100% standard election, I don't know if that's permissible, but that's the deal. So Comcast coming in with a higher bid has got to move the needle higher. And then the second question is all of which is a part now. Because of the fact that what you're now looking at, and a good question that you're going to ask me next, and I knew you were going to do it, is, hey, whoa, this is going to add close to a lot of debt on the books of Disney. I mean, if you took $40 times 1.8 million shares, that's $72 billion plus, half of that is $36 billion on top of the Disney debt. On top of that, you got to pay for Sky, which is $30 billion. So, what?
By the way, Mario, I just want to add, we're seeing the stocks react to a Bloomberg headline which says that Disney could be cleared by the U.S. Department of Justice to buy out most of Fox in as little as 2 weeks.
I read that about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the stocks react, so I just want to mention that to our audience.
I'm not going to get in the weeds with the Justice Department and what they're thinking. I read Judge Leon's, and by the way, I'll echo my comments. The first 50 pages, anybody who wants to be a student of this industry and understand what Bezos is doing and what Netflix is doing should understand the role of technology in this, what's going on in the world here.
On that note, Mario, are these the only bidders out there? Is it possible we could see somebody else come in? I think about all these companies that are buying content like crazy. Could there be another, cash-laden tech company out there that wants to get in?
I am hopeful that you're right, and I hope all eyes are on the big eye of CBS. Take care.
You have time for one more question?
I like that, Scott.
Well, you said I was working overtime. Are you leaving, or are you sticking around for overtime?
No, I thought she was finished with me. I'm sorry.
No. We're not done yet. Is there any fear that the winner could end up being the loser? That somebody pays too much, it's too much debt? How do you view that?
Clearly, when one has subscription revenues, like on cable, you have an ability to predict your cash flow more readily than when you hope for the Infinity War. Look at Pixar's new movie. I mean, Incredibles 2 is going to be enormous. But what happens next year? So Disney does have scale. It does have some predictability. We think they'll do $33 billion. But the point that I'm going to make is that the CapEx, even with the parks, is about $4 billion. So on $33 billion of EBITDA, now the question is, yes, you got a debt. You're going to have a debt of $150 billion, and you're going to have to pay interest, and I assume they're smart enough to lock it in. And you're going to have to match the debt with the question about non-U.S. with euros and pounds. But they can work that out.
Hey, Mario.
Debt is a problem. I mean, at some point you're going to have some economic challenges in the world and some interesting times for money managers.
Follow up to my previous question. You finished by saying, take a look at CBS. I mean, were you saying that you didn't think another potential bidder is out there in this particular deal, but this deal might engender them to go after CBS?
Thank you for embellishing on my question.
No, I'm trying to get clarity here. We got interrupted. I thought you were leaving.
I want to give you clarity because I, in my wildest dreams, would love to have a company with $1 trillion market cap come in and overbid for my clients a $60 all cash bid. So do I sign a 1% probability? Why not? Is it likely? I don't know about that. On the other side of the coin, there's no question that when romance is in the air, you're going to see a lot of people eyeballing everybody and starting to say, whoa, how do we scale up? How do we do this global distribution? How do we take advantage of the 7 billion eyeballs in the world, not the 330 million in the United States?
So who's
Mario,
next?
Let's talk about that romance. I mean, tell us who you think ultimately wins the Fox assets, and whatever party doesn't win, what should they then do?
To the degree you want to have a business that has both content and distribution outside the United States, which companies have that you can get critical mass or at least a start? Now, where can I go? Look, China's a challenge. China's huge in terms of box office for theatrical movies. The problem I have is that India seems the place that everybody has been doing business and has a better commercial footing. So Fox has that set of capabilities, but so does Viacom. In the UK and Germany and Italy, with Sky, you've got content. Look, the World Cup is going on today, and that's the biggest eyeball gatherer of that we can think about. It makes Super Bowl look tiny. And so the notion of content of both sports, news, and entertainment globally, and live events, and particularly going after the millennials and particularly going after the mobile, is an important element. Who else is out there? First of all, my clients are the happiest if there's a continuation of 41, 42 in cash coming back by Comcast, and then Fox will examine whether they have to up the bid a bit or change the terms. This was not only a higher terms, but it was the terms of trade were changed for part cash, part stock by Disney. And look, this makes sense for everyone. Then what else is out there? Look, I mean, Zaslav has a wonderful business in Europe at Discovery. Clearly, some people may want to have wireless, but you will have to aggregate a lot of content producers. I think Viacom has a very good non-U.S. asset base, and I hope Les and Sherry and Bob Backus can make love together. But if they can't, maybe they can go their separate ways.
All those stocks are moving today.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'll solve the problem in other parts of the world later, yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Mario. Mario Gabelli.
Glad to be with you guys.
It was fun.
Have lots of fun. Take care.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.